Good morning and welcome to the show, and thanks for waking up with us today. Today we have a special guest. I have Peggy McClain from the Girl Scouts of America here in the studio. And Peggy, it's so good to see you again.
Oh, it's nice to see you, Don. It's been a while.
It has. I remember you from my prior life as an Air Force officer, and you worked in services out at Tyndall back in the day. And I know you have popped up in Leadership Bay over the years and all that. It's so good to see you again. And now you're involved in scouting.
Well, I've been involved in scouting even then. Girl Scouting, of course, has the premise of serving God, serving country, and helping people. And when you give service to your community to make it better, you can't get much better than that.
Yeah, you know, I was a Boy Scout. I was a Cub Scout, too, before that. You got to look out for those Cub Scouts because they travel in packs. But I think it's good to belong to something at that age that's constructive and positive with so many negative influences that surround our kids nowadays.
Oh, absolutely. Judge Judy Pittman-Beeble, who was a circuit judge in our area, was a Girl Scout leader also, and she said to me one time, you know, scouting's important because I have yet to see a scout in my courtroom.
Yeah.
And they say that children by the age 10 or 11 have their values instilled in them. And when you've got programs that help that way, it's a good thing. Parents can't do it all.
Yeah, and the beauty of this is it's not really a government program.
No, it
really
isn't.
is a private enterprise.
It's volunteer.
It's all volunteer, and people do it just for the good of their children and the community.
That is correct. And in this day and age, with so many families that both are working, it's very difficult to have the traditional troop with the mom as the troop leader.
Right.
So we try to do other things, have staff members in some cases who can take Girl Scouting into the school system in the after-school program, or in some areas they take it in at lunchtime.
Yeah.
So it's evolved a little bit to try to meet the needs of today's girls.
To modern families now.
Absolutely.
I know when I was a kid growing up, my mom was den mother.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you know, she'd have the meetings either at the school or at the house or wherever they were. But now, you know, there's not a lot of stay-at-home moms as there used to be. You've got working families. It's very hard. So we really have to adjust to the times to make sure that these young girls have a chance to, you know, form positive friendships, learn some values, and perform some service for the community. I think it's a really good lesson.
The other thing that I think is very important, it's important for our girls to develop goals, plan to reach those goals, implement their plan, and evaluate the results. And that is something that's critical, a critical learning element for the future when you're talking about creating work ethics and determining what you want to do with your life. It's important for the girls to be able to develop those activities in an environment that if it fails a little bit, they're cushioned.
Particularly around the holiday season, you know, today is Thanksgiving, and happy Thanksgiving, by the way. Around this holiday season, we focus more on giving and charitable works, and you guys are having an event coming up soon, aren't you?
Yes, we are. It's called Silver and Gold, A Village Unfolds.
Silver and Gold, A Village Unfolds. We have to run to the local weather right now. There's the tease. But we'll go to local weather. On the way back, maybe you can tell us about Silver and Gold and how you're going to serve the community, maybe raise some money to help some girls scout a little better.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll be right back after your local weather, brought to you by the West Pittman Law Firm. westpittmanlawfirm.com. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Peggy McClain from the Girl Scouts of America, and we're talking about the event you guys have coming up called Silver and Gold, A Village Unfolds.
Yes.
And I guess this is one of the villages, huh, Peggy?
Well, we have part of
I'm smart like that.
2 villages, actually. One is somewhat similar to a Dickens village. It's the little bitty one. And that little one will actually be given away to some child who comes and puts their name in when they make a donation to attend the event.
So we're going to basically raffle one off, I suppose.
Well, not raffle it. It's an opportunity drawing.
Okay, so an opportunity drawing. I haven't heard that one before. It's not a door prize.
No.
It's an opportunity drawing.
Well, it's like a door prize because as they come in, they get the opportunity.
Now, what will happen at this event? Will you be selling things?
No.
Okay.
Well, I take that back. In actuality, we do have a cookbook that we will be selling.
But for the most part, it's for people to come and see these villages.
We have 5 villages. This one, the large one, is Bethlehem. And a lot of people don't realize, they see the creche and they say, okay, Christ is born. They don't think that the world was going on. Nobody knew but the angels and the shepherds. It was not something that the average person knew. Life went on. You had your merchants who were selling jewelry, you had your glass blowers, you had your farmers, you had your temples, you had everything that a regular town would have.
Yeah, life went on and people were buying and selling and going about their lives.
And so this nativity village, it's a Fontanini nativity village designed in Italy. And it encompasses about 34 buildings, about 100 people, some frogs.
34 buildings like this?
Yes.
Wow, that's got to be beautiful, and it's worth the price of admission there. Now,
and there will be others, though, too.
So you'll have a whole bunch of these villages there for people to look at and admire.
Right.
Now, there's admission to go into that?
It's donation.
It's a donation, okay.
And
the girls set this up?
Well, the big girls set this up.
All right. I wouldn't trust my boys with this when they were little. They'd have way too much fun.
Yeah.
Right. But now the money you raise from this, what happens with that?
Well, in our council, we have about 5,000 girls, almost 1,000 here in Bay County. We have 3 camps. And our camp at Kolomoki and Defuniak Springs.
Kolomoki. I just like saying it. I love that.
It's neat.
Camp Kolomoki.
Our road washed out in that camp in this last spring and summer rains. The culvert got washed out with all of the heavy rain that was really too much for it. So we're rebuilding that road. 900 girls lost the opportunity. We normally have about 900 at camp. That's why I say 900 girls. Lost the opportunity to go and have an adventure experience in the out of doors.
So the funds are going to go to help rebuild the road to Camp Kolomoki. And if someone wants to come, when's the event again?
The event will be the first 3 Sundays in December from 3 to 5 at 1515 St. Andrews Boulevard, which is the Girl Scout Service Center here in Panama City.
And if somebody just wants to help or learn more about it, what can we do? Can we call? Can we
call the Girl Scout office? We'll be glad to take any donations. We are working on, we have regular maintenance issues over there too that we haven't really been able to get in and take care of.
So if you don't have the time to see this, you could always make a donation anytime to the Girl Scouts. And we could do that how? By stopping by 1515?
Or mailing a check to GSCFP, that's Girl Scouts of the Florida Panhandle, and sending it to 1515 St. Andrews Boulevard, Panama City, 32405.
Peggy McClain, thank you so much for everything that you do for our Girl Scouts and for our kids. And you're welcome back on the show anytime.
Oh, thank you.
And we'll be right back after these messages.
I'm David Lovett, and this is your Mad Hatter Minute. Maintaining proper tire pressure helps increase fuel efficiency and driving performance. Correct tire pressure allows the driver to experience a smooth ride, and performance designed to match the needs of the vehicle. An underinflated tire becomes flattened, and more surface area makes contact to the road. If a vehicle's tire pressure is underinflated by as little as 6 pounds, it can mean damage to the tire. Lower tire pressure allows the tire to bend more as it rolls. This will build up heat back into the tire and reduce the tire's lifespan by as much as 25%. You will also experience a significant decrease in your steering with lower tire pressure. Look on the sidewall of your tire. It should have the maximum tire pressure that the tire can hold. You can inflate your tires up to that maximum amount of pressure, but don't go over. Overinflation of your tire could have just as serious consequences as underinflation. An overinflated tire creates too much air back inside the tire. Going over potholes and bumps in the road makes it an extremely rough ride. Additionally, overinflated tires will create premature tire wear. The correct amount of tire pressure can be easily checked with the tire gauge. To ensure your vehicle is running as smooth as it can, make sure the tire pressure is set to the maximum PSI. I'm David Lovett, and that has been your Mad Hatter Minute.
Hey folks, this is Joshua Brown with Mad Hatter on 23rd Street. Is your check engine light on? If it is, text MADHAT28, that's MADHAT28, to 24247, and we'll check it for free.
Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Austin Lee, and I'm at Elliott Vocal Studios and Talent Agency right here in Panama City on 23rd Street. Austin, thanks so much for letting me barge in on you today.
Yeah, for sure. That's not a problem at all. I appreciate you coming by.
Now, Austin, you're an instructor here.
Yes, sir.
And you instruct in keyboard, guitar, bass, banjo.
Yes, sir.
Am I missing anything?
No,
got it all?
that's it, yeah.
Now, you've been playing for how long?
I've been playing piano for about 4 years now.
For about 4 years. Mm-hmm. I actually heard you a little earlier, and for 4 years, you sound pretty
Thank you
darn
very
good.
much. Yeah.
Now, where are you originally from?
I'm from Apalachicola.
Apalachicola, right down the road here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and now you live right here in Panama City? Or,
yeah, I moved up here to Callaway.
Okay, to the big city of Callaway.
Yeah,
you're going to
big
school
city.
here.
Yeah.
And you're working here on the side. Mm-hmm. How cool was that? Now, maybe you can play a little something for us today?
Yeah, I could play something.
Okay.
I'll play...
something Thanksgiving-y, okay?
Okay.
Because it is Thanksgiving.
Okay.
All right. What do you got?
It's a little bit of an old gospel chorus. It's called I Worship You, Lord. But I really like the chords in it and the harmonies that they use.
Awesome.
So
take it away, Austin.
Right.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Kimberly Drayton from Story Call. And if you don't know what Story Call is, you're going to find out here in a minute, and it's going to be very, very interesting. Stick with us. Kimberly, welcome back to the show. I had you on once before. When you first told me about Story Call, I was fascinated in that it can capture family stories forever. And here we are, it's Thanksgiving Day. People are going to be sitting around a table, telling all those stories of when, your crazy Uncle Joe did whatever. And yes, I do have a crazy Uncle Joe, actually. So,
don't we all?
We all. Everybody's got one. I'm not talking about Biden either. But can you just tell us in a nutshell what Story Call is and how you manage to preserve those family stories forever for people?
Yes, we do. We are biographers, mm-hmm. and what the people do is they register on the website, storycall.us, and they schedule 30-minute interviews. They pick their biographer, hopefully it would be me, and they schedule the call, and I call them, and I sit there, and we start from early childhood. I ask them questions about their parents, their grandparents, immigration stories, and we work our way all the way up through where they're at their lives right now, retirement, and what they're doing now with their lives.
So how long are these interviews, and how do you know what questions to ask?
Well, they're 30 minutes long, and we actually have a story map, which will be part of their website, because once you register, you have immediate access to your website, and on that website, you'll see all the questions in the story map that we ask. You can pick and choose which questions we ask. You can let us ask all of them, and you can also add questions to it that you want us to ask to make sure that we touch upon the subjects that you really want to hear about.
I visited the site and looked at some of the questions, and some of those questions are like questions a grandkid would want to ask a grandparent.
Yes.
And it's so sad that over the years, a lot of families have a rich oral history, but some stories are going to be lost as they're retold or they'll be changed. There's no better way than to hear it from the person's mouth and then have it recorded. Now, once you do all these interviews over a period of time,
right,
what happens to those interviews?
Well, they're automatically recorded to the website. So you can go on there and just click on the section of early childhood, and you can listen to your family member tell their stories and answer the questions that we've asked them. So if you want to know how your grandparents met, you can click on the little picture that shows that your person is talking about their family and their grandparents, and you can hear the whole story.
Wow.
Yep.
That's cool. So you could go to different little anecdotes.
Yes.
And
there's little sections, like an early childhood section, and then there's youth, young adult, and you can click on those sections and you can hear all different stories questions we've asked and stories that they've told.
That's an amazing service. Now, is it protected? Can anybody go on there, or is it just for family members? Or
it's just for whoever you add to your site as a member of your site. So if you add your wife, and 2 children, then they're the only ones that have access to it. Whoever you put on there can go on. Not anybody can just go on and start clicking and listening to your stories.
So these stories can remain somewhat private within the family.
Yes.
Although they're on the internet, but you get a little passcode, I guess.
Yes, you get a passcode to get in, and yes, you do.
That's so cool. What are some of the, now you're an interviewer or a biographer,
yes.
So you've probably talked to a lot of people. Are you typically seniors that you speak
Typically
with?
Seniors right now, yes, definitely. And they're saying that they're thinking of things that they haven't thought about in years. And they said it's so enjoyable. It's just they're reliving their lives, and they really love it. They look forward to the calls, as I do. I look forward to calling them because it's just a highlight in my day as well.
And it sounds like it would make a really good gift, too.
Yes, definitely.
This holiday season.
It's holiday season, because what do you get them? What do they really need? And something like this is something that will be saved for forever. It'll be there forever.
If you're like my parents, who are in their 80s, who are elderly, they've had it all over the years, and what better way than to just preserve their stories like that? We have to run off to a break. I want to talk more about some of the people that you've met doing story calls and how people can enroll in story call if they want to give it as a gift for the holidays.
Okay.
And we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Kimberly Drayton from Story Call. Kimberly, the tease before we went to the break was, that you've met some interesting people. Can you tell me about some of the interviews that you've done?
Yes. There's one woman that I've spent at least 12 calls with. I might even a little bit more, and we still have more to go because she just really gets really deep into her stories. Her children and her family, the grandchildren, are going to love listening to her stories because she remembers every detail, and really she's had some fascinating stories, fascinating life. She's she's 90s, so she had such a span. I learned so much from her just interviewing her about what it was like back in the day.
And her family just must love being able to access those stories at the click of a mouse. Now, the person who invented Story Call or came up with this concept, it was a fellow who had lost his parents or grandparents?
His grandfather died, and he was sad that he didn't get to keep the stories. He didn't preserve them. Nothing was preserved on his life. So he really, from that point on, he said, you know what, we've got to preserve our family stories. We've got to have them forever. Yeah. And so that's what he decided to start Story Call.
You're very, people are curious about their grandparents or their great-grandparents.
I know.
And with Ancestry and all those other things that people are really into researching their roots now and finding out where their heritage is.
It's a really big thing.
And it's probably a good place to start. Now, if people wanted to learn more about Story Call and how they could capture those timeless family stories, where can they go?
Well, if they go to youtube.com, and they search for Story Call, they have a Story Call has a page there, and there's like a 3-minute demonstration there, and it shows exactly what to do. You go to the website storycall.us, and you just register right there. And once you register, you're ready to go. You can get right onto your website and look at the questions and start posting questions.
Storycall.us.
Yes.
And you'll see that whole story matrix laid out in front of you.
Exactly.
Is it very expensive?
No, and actually I have a discount code. It's Kimberly D20, and they'll get 20% off, and you can buy 1 call, 3 calls, 6 calls, or 12 calls.
Now, I had visited the site, and I saw that the 6 calls was marked as the most popular. Is that sufficient to get all the stories you need?
It really depends on who you're talking to. Like I have one woman who goes beyond the 12 calls, and then there's another gentleman who would be okay with 6 calls. And if your budget is a little tight and you can only manage 6 or you can only manage 1, then get on the website and post what you want us to ask. So we're hitting exactly what you want to hear. And
you could always, I guess, up it a little. I mean, if you're at 6 calls and you need 12,
yes. You
can go
definitely
to 12.
can. You definitely can. And you can actually join in on the calls as well. If I'm interviewing your mom, you can call in the same time and you can be in on that interview, which is nice.
So it's not just you talking to mom.
You can jump in, you can have your grandchildren,
Yeah.
your child, whoever you want on there can join in if they call in.
Yeah, I can find out why I never got that G.I. Joe that I wanted.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like, what's up with that?
Exactly.
I do know what's up with that. My dad said, boys don't play with dolls. now they're action figures, so I guess it's okay. But I'm old. Well, this is just a wonderful concept, and especially around this holiday season.
It's a great holiday gift.
It's a great gift to give.
It is.
Storycold.us.
Yes.
Kimberly Drayton, thank you for coming on the show and explaining this to us. And if someone wants to call you and have you as their biographer, what can we do?
Well, what you do is when you go to the website, you'll see pick your biographer, and you'll see my picture, Kimberly Drayton. I'm actually sitting in a pile of shells at the beach. That's what my picture is.
Okay.
And you'll see it in there. And yeah, just pick me, and we can go from there.
And then you'll be talking to Grandma and Grandpa before you know it.
I can't wait.
Thanks again for coming on the show. And that wraps it up. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your family and tell those stories and remember them. We'll see you next time.